Dear friends, welcome to Thalir. It means bud. It is budding force to a new life. And we are Capuchins working for the renewal of the society and the church. Dear brothers and sisters in Jesus Christ, on behalf of Thalir Capuchin Online Ministries, I welcome you for this week's special program meant for social work directors. This is from Thalir Visit, the virtual institute for spirituality, integrity, and transformation. We shall be dealing with project management and fundraising in this week. This is from part of the International Skills Development Program meant for the social work directors. This is from 16th to 20th of November, every day evening 6 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. Indian time. On the 16th, we shall have the special session on the rights-based approach to development by Dr. Arul Kamaraj and Reverend Father Jyoti, a Jesuit priest. On the 17th and 18th, we shall have the sessions on project management and fundraising by Mr. Prabhakar. On the 19th, we shall have a special session on Foreign Contribution Regulation Act on the recent development by Dr. Kandasamy, the Audit and Finance Manager. On the 20th, we shall have a special session on the Catholic social teaching and the marginalized by Dr. Prakash Louis, a Jesuit missionary. Welcome to Thalir Capuchin Online Ministries.
So happy that Father Nitya has taken up this topic for you all. And I'm going to share on two aspects, financial management and legal compliance. As Father Nitya has just mentioned, he has been a beacon light because when we first met a few decades back, he was about to implement a national program. And the beauty of that is that right in the beginning, as he was about to implement, he was humble to consult and take advice and do. And I had the privilege, I was only simply a simple instrument, but he took it to the heights and he did it so well, and it was adjudged as a best implemented program with best financial management. And today he is the beacon light to all of us to bring us together and highlight this topic, prioritize this topic, and that we can together discuss. I would not call just a expert for 40 years, for decades, sharing his expertise. I would call this evening a joint reflection, because each of you is great in your own way, with your leadership, with your track record, with your commitment, with your devotion. More than anything, you are a very special group of people, consecrated people. You are different from others. You are not one of those employees. You are called none other than by God himself, and your job is just not a job, it is a call. And therefore, I am very sure that we can reflect together jointly on this important topic for the good of your apostolates and for greater glory of God. Having said this, I move on to the components of the topic. The first component is the overview of financial management. I am saying overview. Putting it in another way, a forest view, or making it yet another way, an aerial view, because financial management is such a topic. We discuss it over a week, over a month, over a semester, and over a period of an year and 3 years, this important topic. But at this time today, when all of you are there, so busy people, we can only go for an overview or an aerial view or a forest view. The idea is that once you have a forest view and you know what is the safe area of the forest and what is the problematic area of the forest, then you know how to manage the problematic area with God's grace and God's hand. I'm very sure then you can manage the problematic area for the good of your ministry and good of your apostolate. Having said that, I will go to the other component, which is legal compliance aspects. Again, this is integral part of the financial management and accountability. Legal compliance is nothing new to us. Jesus has told us, give it to Caesar what is due to Caesar, give it to God what is due to God. So for us today, the big challenge is to differentiate between what is due to Caesar and what is due to God. Definitely what is due to God has to go to God, and what is due to Caesar has to go to Caesar. But what is not due to the Caesar should not go to Caesar, because then we are depriving of what is going to God. When I say what is going to God, it is not going to God, it is going to his people, poor people, particularly the target population you are serving in your area of apostolate, in your area of the province. Of course, the etiquette and the netiquette you would have been already so well practicing already. So I do not want to take your time. Only the first line, be muted, but you don't have to be, you have to only mute the computer, not yourself. You can be very cheerful and you can be listening and you can be talking when you want. Father Nitya told me we will have a very special time, end of the session for discussions. Therefore, at that time, you can unmute and then we can discuss. You can bring forth your queries and questions. So two focus areas. One is the financial management. Another is the legal compliance aspect. Now, in these two, the objective of this evening is very simple, very focused. First one, to get an overview of the financial management, because Father has already shared with me that it's an international community. It is not just one state or one country. It is international, intercontinental. I am focusing almost half of my time on the financial management aspect. Financial management is common in a state in India, in India, in Asia, in Africa. Nowhere in the world 2 plus 2 is not 4. Of course, some people want to make it 5. Some people want to make it 3. But the fact is 4. You know, there is a story that when they want to recruit an accountant, only 3 people came to a church body. And the interview team started asking questions, And the first question was, what is 2 plus 2? And the first fellow said, my God, this must be a very simple job. And I am so qualified, overqualified. He said, thank you, sir. Thank you, sister. Thank you, father. I am not taking this job. Second fellow came, more or less same answer. Third fellow came and said, oh, 2 plus 2. Okay. In my first job, I made it 3 and I got a promotion. Oh my God. Then what happened in your second job? In my second job, I made it 5 and I got a double promotion. And then they said, here, what do you want to do? Oh, very simple. I don't want to repeat the same thing that 3 and 5 are very stale for me now. I want to make whatever you want. That is not the accountant that we want. We want an accountant who always will make 4, 2 plus 2, 4. So our approach to accounting, accountability, and legal compliance is simply transparency, good governance, and stewardship, nothing else. And second objective is understanding the practical issues. It is one thing to hear about the law. It is another thing to go through struggles of practical challenges. And the third is God doesn't want us to stop with problems. He is showing the ways. Look at this, even in Corona times, He has shown the ways. He has shown the way that we need not travel from Africa and Asia to one country, to India or to another country. He said we can be together. This is God's way. He has shown us the way. Like this, there are hundreds and thousands of ways God is showing. He has only brought one problem. Of course, serious problem. No question. Corona all over the world. But together with this problem, He has brought multiple blessings. Sometimes they are blessings in disguise. But with you as a consecrated people committed to God's work, I'm very sure we can identify the blessings in disguise for the good of the ministry again. Moving to the ministries today, in the world, if you take today, there are 3 sectors going on, operating. One is the business sector, otherwise called corporate sector. Other is the government sector. And third is the non-profit sector. Undoubtedly, we fall under the third category, that is the non-profit sector. Of course, sometimes they accuse us saying that you are also in business, especially when we are in certain apostolates like education sector. There is a criticism, there is an accusation, but we know where we are. we know where we have to correct. However, in the non-profit sector today, there are so many operators, so many players. Catholic Church is not the only one. There are other church bodies. That's why in certain countries we call the FBOs, not NPO. For example, in Africa, I've been to several countries in Africa. There is a concept called FBO, faith-based organizations. And in certain other parts of the world also, it's called faith-based organizations, which means they need not be Catholic, they need not be Christian, they can even be other faith-based organizations. As we know in India itself, there are so many faith-based organizations who are at work in the non-profit sector. But our focus is in the non-profit sector as Catholic Church, as Catholic congregations. Look here, these are the three areas the church bodies are focusing, particularly the congregations are focusing. The congregations are you focusing on education sector, you're focusing on health sector and social sector. Undoubtedly, each sector is facing its unprecedented challenges today. It's my plan to spend 5 minutes on the education sector because that is one of the major sectors for the Catholic Church, one of the major sectors for the Catholic congregations. And of course, health sector is also facing tremendous challenge. On the other side, on a very, very serious side, health sector, hospitals used to accommodate patients in the ICU. But today, the hospitals themselves are going into financial ICU because of the current challenges, the constraints, and then the problems faced, whether you are made as a COVID center or a not COVID center. Even if the government doesn't call it a COVID center, some people label it as COVID center, and with that, no patient come there, no doctor wants to come there. I'm coming across because of my deep involvement several realities. And social sector, my God, there at least in the health sector and the education sector there is some money and that we can collect. If you want to collect, for example, the fees, if you go for online we can still collect, and in the hospital we can still go on. But in the social sector it is much more challenging, particularly in a country like India or in Africa and certain other Asian countries where I had the privilege of visiting, working and collaborating with the local Catholic bodies, local Caritas, whether in Myanmar, whether in Thailand, whether in Sri Lanka, or whether in African countries, quite a few African countries, and particularly in India today. The reality is the poverty or the poor people are like ocean, and the rich people are like tiny islands. But tiny islands simply control 95 or even more than the percent of the wealth and the income of the world altogether. So the point is, Catholic Church is focusing not on those islands. Catholic Church is focusing on this ocean of poverty, people who are below poverty line, people who are in the lower middle class, and I mean they are marginalized people, they are disadvantaged people, they are oppressed people. We just now heard about the FMM sisters, Father Nitya introducing the FMM sisters. I've just given a session to the Chennai province a couple of days back. And I always, when I say FMM, when I hear FMM, I always remember in one of my earliest sessions, that's about 30 years back, I used to ask them, what's the meaning of FMM? And they used to say so many meanings. I won't go to all of them. One meaning was faithful mirrors of Mary, FMM, FMM. Of course, on the lighter side, so many other meanings are there. I won't go to them. Faithful mirrors of Mary. See, it's such a challenging place that the Father introduced this community of sisters working there with such a lot of risk and vulnerability that you are able to do this work in the social sector. But unfortunately, today, social sector is also at the crossroads with the lack of money, lack of foreign contribution not coming, and also curbs, restrictions, ban, prohibitions on the foreign contribution, which was some kind of a source for the social ministry. Today, we are at crossroads. Father, I'm still audible, Father? Father, am I still audible?
Sir, you are very clear, sir.
Oh,
Very clear.
okay.
And some people
Anytime.
want to see you. Some people want to see your face when you are talking.
That
Just one corner,
the
like Sam size. Yeah.
PowerPoint, what happens? It is hiding. So let me just see. Let me see what I can do. Am I visible now?
In one corner, you should be a speaker's view. I think 1 minute. 1 minute. Speaker's view. I put speaker's view. Now can you come, sir?
Yeah, talking Kandasamy. Show thumbnail video. Am I there? Am I there?
Not in mine. Not in mine.
Yes, Father.
Is there?
Yes.
I'm
okay,
there.
then it's okay, sir. Yeah,
Okay,
you continue.
okay.
Maybe
Okay,
some
okay,
problem
okay.
with me. I should learn a little more.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Okay. But is my PowerPoint fully visible? Because
Excellent, excellent.
Okay.
Excellent. Yes.
Okay. All right. Look at a vehicle. A three-wheeler. The first wheel, which is the reason for all of our meeting today. Why meeting today? Even for existence, even for part of a congregation, that is the vision and mission and the goals and objectives of your congregation. You could have gone for any job anywhere in the world, not only in your place, in your village or in your town or in your city. You could have gone anywhere in the world, because today the world is a global village. But you are committed to your call and you are committed to your ministry, and that is the first wheel. You can see the arrow, that's the showing the direction. On the left side there is a wheel, that is the wheel of stewardship, governance, management. Each of you gathered in this webinar, you have a great responsibility of leadership. Because if somebody asks what's the meaning of your life, the meaning of your life is equal to the lives that you touch during your lifetime. I think the lives you touch during your lifetime, particularly God's people, most vulnerable people, make your life so meaningful. At the same time, your administration, your stewardship, your accountability also has to match what you are doing. Because olden days, you can do good and say, I'm doing good after all. These days, that's not enough. You have to do good, and when you do good, you have to prove you are doing good. Because there are other people who are excellent in proving they are good without doing anything good. But we have a serious problem that we do good, but somewhere we lack to show, to demonstrate, because it has become a necessity today that we are indeed doing good. So the governance, the stewardship is in your hands, completely in your hands. And on the right side, you have the third wheel, that is the wheel of finance. Now, if these three wheels are very vibrant, strong, robust, then your vehicle is strong. When I say your vehicle, I'm not referring to your motorbike or your cycle or your car or your jeep. I am meaning your ministry. Your ministry can be very strong. And as you know, around the world, there are many types of three-wheelers. You have a physically challenged person using a tricycle is also a three-wheeler. Of course, that's a wonderful, wonderful instrument for him. You also have an aeroplane as a three-wheeler. Now, for the ministries of Catholic Church, I'm not saying that three-wheeler is bad, but you need an aeroplane because your ministries are around the world. Most of your congregations are in international apostolic activities. So you have to be like an aeroplane. And if you have to be like an aeroplane, each of your wheel, first wheel with the clarity of your vision and mission, particularly aligning and adapting to the times. An unprecedented time like COVID is not 1900, sisters and brothers and fathers. It is 2020, COVID era. And it's a very unprecedented crisis in the world. So we can't follow the old methods. If anyone thinks that we will come back to pre-pandemic times in the next 3 months or 6 months, God alone knows. God alone knows. So we have to adapt ourselves. That's why the old saying goes, it is the one who succeeds in his work, including in apostolic activities, not the one who is strong, not the one who is able to adapt himself or herself. So today, how are we adapting ourselves? That depends on your hands. That depends on your governance. That depends on your stewardship. So if you are a three-wheeler, then you can be an aeroplane, meaning to say you can have such great energy and capacity and speed to do your apostolic activity, or else you can become an auto rickshaw, you can become a bullock cart, or whatever. Now, talking about aeroplane, please listen. I also said about aerial view some time back, a small caution by a small story that I want to share with you. When you're hearing these things on financial management and legal compliance, it's important for you to get a good view, full view. If you have half view, you do not know what is on the other side. For example, nowadays I give a story of a aeroplane. When nowadays the private airplanes, when they come into the airport, in 15 to 20 minutes the aircraft gets ready, because a group of 3 or 5 boys come into the aircraft and they quickly clean, and then the after that the captain and the air hostess come, and then the next flight is already taking off. Unlike in the olden days, I remember in the 1980s, if a flight time is half an hour, the cleaning time will be 1.5 hours. That was possible those days with the government airlines. Today, the private airlines are so fast. But you know what happened one fine morning? I am speaking to you from the city of Chennai. And in the city of Chennai, there is an airport called Meenambakkam, Chennai Airport, International Airport. Now, these boys came into the aircraft, and then one boy who was in the cockpit pilot's place said to the other boys, "Hey, boys, look at this. I have a small manual." And the manual says, "Takeoff manual." And I'm planning to take off for 10 to 15 minutes to see the Bay of Bengal. The Bay of Bengal is in the morning beautiful, lovely sea. So we all can see, not only that you have the Mylapore St. Thomas Cathedral, you have the world famous Marina Beach. You can see all of that in 5 minutes, and then we can land back in the airport, and then the captain and the air hostess will come. The boys said, "All right, go on. By the time you are going and returning, we will clean up the aircraft." So they went off. They went to they saw the St. Thomas Cathedral, beautiful view. They saw Marina Beach, beautiful view. There was also a lighthouse, beautiful view. And then the boy said, "Arey, it's already time. Come, let's go back." And the boy in the pilot's room is telling, "I'm very sorry. I'm very sorry." "What, you are very sorry?" "I don't know how to land now." "Come on, look at the manual." "The manual is only for taking off, not for landing." I'm sure you got the message. In the matters of financial management and legal compliance, it's very important for you to get a good view, not only how to take off, but also how to safely land. With this caution and advice, I would like to move on to the third wheel detail. What are the details of the third wheel? 10 commandments. You can see there: planning, budgeting, accounting system, reporting system, monitoring system, legal compliance system of the in-country. I am saying it in-country because every country has its own regulations. For example, India has its own regulations that I am going to speak about in a couple of minutes. And Sri Lanka has its own regulations, Thailand, Myanmar, around surrounding countries, Africa, Kenya, Nigeria, Ghana, everybody, Ethiopia, every country has its own regulations. But for us as people of commitment to our own cause, and as a member of the Catholic congregations, it's not which country, what law. It is a simple principle: give it to Caesar what is due to Caesar. So that box we are going to discuss more. The box of this red box, in country regulations, we are going to discuss more because it is a very, very important and vulnerable part. I will be unpacking that box in a few minutes. Before doing that, look at on the left side, you have audit, you have financial policies, you have social securities, and you have also investments. We know all of these are important. Investments, for example, we just last Sunday, we listened to the parable of talents. Parable of talents. Now, how is our monies are invested? Are they in income earning securities? Or they are without any income, benefiting the banks? And similarly, social securities are very, very important these days. the provident fund, whatever you call it, or the gratuity, or whatever you call it, or the ESIs, employee state insurance. The names are slightly different in African countries and slightly different in the Asian countries, but they are all part, in principle, they are same. They are same part of the social security measures and policies. In the olden days, when I was trying to help church bodies, there used to be lighter side, a small joke. We used to have a fantastic policy, they used to tell me. I was so curious. I used to ask them, "Yo, Bishop, your Lordship, please tell me what is this policy?" Or, "Father, what is this policy?" They will say, "Our policy is a very simple policy of not having any policy." No more that is possible. No more that is possible, isn't it? Nowadays, we need to have a very strong, very clear, very robust policies. And I'm very proud to say many of our congregations are having wonderful policies, and they are also revising it from time to time. For example, the latest revision of policies for COVID times. Quite a few congregations are revising their policies for COVID times. How to go for the financial management, how to go for online collection, how to go for online payment, about which I am coming in a few moments. And of course, governance. Governance is the most important. All these 10 commandments are there, but who is there to practice? Who is to bell the cat? It is the people in governance. Who are the people in governance? None other than yourself. You are the one who are in the driver's seat. Now, these days, your monies are not coming in hard currency. Again, I'm going to expand it a little bit. It's coming in virtual currency. So we need to be prepared. When I open this topic, the immediate next feedback, we are having fear. We are having fear. We are having apprehension. We are insecure. Then I'm saying, what is, then COVID is not fearful? Corona is not apprehensive. Corona is also we are fearful. So choose between what is more fearful and what is less fearful. And still we are able to go on with our ministry. Look at this picture. This is just to show in 30 seconds, if your financial wheel becomes a disabled wheel, challenged wheel, then the whole vehicle will become challenged. You as facilitators of good work should not become a impediment yourself. Many people are spending a lot of time just on useless financial management, useless administration, most inefficient method. I used to hear some people, "Sir, we can be inefficient, but we don't want to be efficiently inefficient." You know, I don't mind we try to, move on from less efficiency to more efficiency, but we don't want to be efficiently inefficient. So you need to find ways these days by latest methods, using latest technology, learning them, and upfront taking up important, challenges that are there, and make our three-wheeler a strong three-wheeler. That's the message here. Having said that, now I go to the accountability. See, when we talk about financial management, we are not alone. When we talk about legal compliance, we are not alone. Look at that. On the right side, you have stakeholders. On the left side, you have stakeholders. And the bottom, that is you yourself. You are the pillar. You are the foundation. But you are not alone. You are supported by so many people. When I say you are supported, you are also accountable to them. You are also responsible to them. When they say support you, they also question us these days. For example, in our education ministry, the parents question us. Why do you want fees when you are not having classes? Is a question that is coming. And same thing with the students. We are not able to meet my friends and we are not able to come to the school. And why should we pay fees? When we talk about online, that is another story. That is a totally different story with a digital divide. Particularly in the poor countries, the digital divide is going to have a tremendous impact for the future. Think of next 10 years. Think of today's education. Think of today's digital divide. Think of the millions of children who don't have even one mobile phone. And the one mobile phone the father has is an auto rickshaw or a vegetable vendor. He or she is using it for livelihood. And if at all there is one more, and if there is a girl and a boy, it's the boy who takes control of the mobile phone and not the girl. So the girl children's education. That's another story. I'm neither competent nor we have the time, but I know that you feel it and you feel it. That's why these days I'm saying instead of buildings, build digital, make digital building. Instead of infrastructures, give mobile phones, simple mobile phones to poor children. That will be a best education that we will be doing today. Now, on the one side, parents and patients for the hospital. On the other side, you have the, general public and donors and supporters, leave alone our own staff, lay collaborators. They also have their own stake in our ministries. And they, while they are supporting, they also demand a lot of things. That is the kind of, climate that we are facing today. So, just want to spend 3 to 5 minutes, not more than that, on the education sector. Look at this. In the month of March in India, but in some other countries, it's slightly a different month. All of a sudden, one fine evening, we went to a complete lockdown. We were caught unaware. We were caught in a web, in a terrible web, not able to come out of it, not knowing how to come out of it. And everything came to a standstill. No exams, no semester, no arrear fee collection possible. Even if you want to collect, no money because there was no salary in the month of April, May, June, and no cash in our hands for the operations. Then what happened? The recent developments are from this kind of a scenario, mask scenario, which cannot go on for a long. It has gone to physical to digital platform, classroom to virtual room, as we are already. From buildings, our own very, very palatial, nice, wonderful buildings to digital framework, digital platform as we are now. And then look at this on the left side and the right side. The left side is not going to be the reality very soon. In the certain states in India, for example, some states they announced the opening of the school, and first day there was 1,000 plus corona students and teachers. So the state which wanted to open next week, they closed. They decided not to open because parents said we don't want our children to be affected. So it is going to be PCR to VCR, not any more PCR. So what are the new strategies? The new strategies are, look at this in the same financial management principle. First one is instead of our old method of planning, provincial council planning, councillors planning, finance committee planning, once in a year, for example, in the month of April, for the April to next March, now we have to go for rapid action plan because times are like this. We may have to plan for every month, every quarter. And of course, when we are planning, if you look at something called VED principle, vital, essential, desirable, it is absolutely not desirable to focus on the desirable. Absolutely not desirable. It's important to focus on the vital. I think God's message is that for the people, that so many non-essentials, undesirable things are labeled as desirable, essential, sometimes even as vital. So we don't have that kind of monies with us, that kind of resources with us. So it has to be vital. So focus on the vitals. For example, I'm coming across several institutions where the last year budget was 50 lakhs for the building and 1 lakh for the computer. Pre-COVID, fantastic. Post-COVID, disastrous. Because what do you want to do by building 50 lakhs? Students won't come there. On the other hand, if you redirect it into digital infrastructure and 10% of it by simple mobile phones and give it to the students, you would have done a fantastic job. I am sharing this as a simple example. I know how great you are. You would have already done much better things, I believe. But I am just sharing with you as a simple example. Similarly, budget revisions. We used to revise the budget for 2020, 2021. We used to revise somewhere in November, December. No use to revise. Now we have to revise on a perhaps a monthly basis, if not a quarterly minimum. And that has to be based on the rapid action plan, because budget and the activity plan are interconnected. It is not disconnected. Budget and the activity plan are, it's not based on the money you do activity. Now certain activities are critical, and therefore we have to find the money in order to do the critical activities. And revise on a quarterly basis, monitoring on monthly MFM instead of AFM, annual financial monitoring, is no more useful, because you don't even know what is next month, leave alone next year. And another important focus has to be online collection. Nothing wrong. You want to collect, so collect online instead of going for the old method. Instead of the school office, where there is a high possibility of corona because of contacts, go for virtual office. Instead of keeping long queues in the counter, go for e-options. I'll show you some pictures, live pictures. Instead of getting the vendor and then making a check and seeing his paper, and go for virtual. Go for virtual. So why online collection? We can avoid high risk of counting and checking, and we can even avoid the fake notes. Look at the picture, who is wearing the mask? Father of the nation, he is just a picture there in the 500 rupee note. There also mask is there. On the right side you can see what can happen. Therefore, look at the cash counters. Who bothers? Who bothered for the Diwali in India? With such a huge crowds all over the country, different parts. Who bothered? So here also, we are bothered about our people who are working there in the counter, our parents who are coming there, our children, and you also. You are precious. You touch the lives of hundreds and thousands and lakhs, if not millions. You are also precious. Why do you want to expose yourself when there is an efficient option God has shown us? Therefore, go digital. When I say go digital, there are hundreds of possibilities. Look at this. Look at this. So many possibilities, not one or two. You know something? Some schools have gone for digital, but only for net banking and credit card. My dear fathers, brothers and sisters, what percentage of our children's parents are having net banking? Banking itself is a problem, then where is net banking? Therefore, it is important when you say online, use all the simplest options that the illiterate person can follow. So you have so many other options just by the mobile. If nothing, you go to the tea shop, chai kadai, go to the tea shop. Tea shop wala says, sir, what do you want me to do? You want me to do money remittance? You want me to do Google Pay? You want me to do Paytm? Anything I will do for you, sir, as you are having the tea. Today, that is the greatness of technology. That is the greatness of ordinary people. So therefore, there is no reason why you cannot, for ease of collections, there is no reason why you should have bank people, school staff gathering to receive the money and to know and to worry, oh my God, is there corona there or not? And then why do you want to increase the admin cost, reduce the admin cost, and then own ERP? ERP means software, enterprise resource planning. Bank gives it. If you ask the bank to collect it virtually, they also give a software free. And of course, sometimes they will charge you, but you can tell them other bank is not charging, then they will give you free. And finally, my message is go for virtual accounting. All softwares are available. For such a economic price, 1,000 onwards softwares are available. And audit also. I'm very, very happy to share with you, by God's grace, we have been by the wonderful cooperation of our most reputed institutions we are supporting through audit and advice. We have completed more than 500 to 700 audits virtually already. And they are none other than congregations like you all, none other than church bodies like you all, societies and trust. And why not virtual board meeting? I have already participated in more than 30 annual general body meeting of congregations, Catholic congregations, and give inputs that I am sharing with you. I have given there. Virtual filing. After all, today, every filing to the government is virtual. portals, income tax portal, registrar of society portal, FCRA portal, EPF portal, etc. Why only filing? Even government's assessment is a faceless assessment. No more face value. We used to say in the Catholic congregation, my old student is the officer there. No more, no more. Because the Arunachala Pradesh, near the Chinese border, person's assessment will be done in Trivandrum, small village in Kerala. And then the Tamil Nadu assessment may be done in Gujarat near Pakistan border. Today, that is the reality. I'm giving India picture, because it is a faceless assessment. No more persons meeting another person and getting things done. No more, that is a reality. Now, that is about the financial management. So far, it is applicable, I believe, for all. It may not be just only for India people. But I have to do justice for another topic, and that is the India topic, that is the FCRA. So, Father Nitya, would you please advise me? Shall we have a 5 minutes break so that we don't go offline as we are online?
Yes, sir. There are some people who might may be willing to clarify some things. Dear friends, I would like to add 2 points before we go in for some 5 minutes of clarification. Dr. Kandasamy, once I was asking, what did you do? He said, I'm just after addressing 8,000 auditors by online. This is not just COVID time. I think 2-3 years before.
Yes,
He's
yes,
well versed in all these auditors, so many auditors who he has guided, and then India is our leading #1. And also 40 years of experience. Therefore, it's very, very good. One more point I want to add. Many of you are asking the video clips and of the full talk. Please listen. I already given you the guidance. That is Talir-Visit. Talir is our institute. The VISIT stands for Virtual Institute for Spirituality, Integration and Transformation. This is called VISIT. So Talir-Visit is the YouTube channel. You just go, you will get all the files, all the more than 100 videos are there. So please make use of it. If it is possible, please click the bell button and subscribe and make a like. So it will be getting, in future also, even if you don't attend some other classes, you'll be getting the things. So with this, I will ask you to come out with some questions. Mr. Jesu will be guiding us. Mr. Jesu. So those who are raising the hand, please. Yes,
Father,
yes,
may
sir.
I have a small request, Father? May I have a
Yes.
small request, Father?
Yeah.
If I humbly request our participants to use the chat box, and then put the question in a brief way. It will be of tremendous help, because I can see the number is 200 plus already. So if you can kindly consider my humble request to put the question in the chat box, someone can read. It's easier. That will save lot of time. It will also bring about a high level of clarity, if you don't mind.
Yes.
If you don't mind.
Yes.
Thank you, Father. Thank you very much.
Thank you. There's one question. How authentic is the PayPal? Please explain. That's from Rosalind, Sister Rosalind.
Okay. Father, I let them put all the questions after the 5 minutes break. After 5 minutes break, I'll take up.
This break is only for break.
Only for break. They can relax. They can fine tune the computer or whatever. Then I will answer all the questions, Father, by all means. Father.
Okay.
Only humble request is put it in the chat. I'm sure all of them know to use the chat well, isn't it?
Yeah, they are all experts.
Sure. Yeah, I'm sure. Please. So you decide the time, Father. India 5 minutes, Father.
I thought it's virtual 5 minutes. That means they just stay there. But now it's actual 5 minutes. They can go and drink water and come back.
It's up to them. If they want to be, along with the computer online, that's fine. If not, they would like to go out, washroom, whatever. Fine, Father. Just somebody wants to just keep putting the question there also. Fine, Father. So, Father, it's 7 in my 6:57.
Yes, you are right.
7:05. 7:05. Is it okay?
Okay, 7:05 will start.
7:05. Sure, Father. Thank you.
Yeah. Mhm. Okay. Yes, sir. So you are ready? Sir, your mic is muted, I think.
Sir, your mic is muted. Kandasamy sir.
Sir, shall we begin?
Father? Yes, Father.
Yeah.
Sure, Father. Sure, Father.
Yeah, dear friends, now so far we have taken some general, I think, about the accounting and all the accountability using digital modules, all these things. Very, very important for us. There are so many things he has touched. I think they're very valuable things, especially the rapid action plan and also the use of the monthly monitoring system. And this it's not only important to be good, but also to prove to be doing good. I think these are some of the important things that's insights, very insightful thing for us also to follow. So may I request Dr. Kandasamy to continue on FCRA now. Thank
Yes,
you.
Father. Thank you. Thank you very much, Father. Thank you. Welcome back again. Am I again audible, Father?
Yes, yes, yes. Very
Okay.
good.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So I would like to speak first about the emerging scenario in the compliance aspect of non-profit organizations like our congregations, our societies, and our trust. You know, in general, not only in India, many parts of the world, NPOs are facing high scrutiny. This is very well known. Institutions are under heavy stress. I need not say, you know better. Several laws and rules and regulations are enacted. Even this corona times, COVID era, lot of laws are enacted, lot of amendments are made to the existing laws. So legal compliance. Of course, as a Catholic congregations, I think most of the participants belong to the Catholic congregations. When we talk about compliance, of course, first is the universal law, that is the canon law. That is not our topic, but that is not undermined. That is very important. And you have, as a local ordinary bishop or as a provincial or a community leader, you have got important responsibilities there, and we are not undermining that. We are keeping that on one side. On the other side is the civil laws. What are the civil laws that are applicable and who are affected by the civil laws? Today, every Catholic society is affected, every Catholic trust is affected. Our schools are affected, colleges, institutions, social work societies, social work bodies, social work ministries, everybody is affected by these regulations. Now, there are three types of regulations. One is the incorporation law or registration law. Other is the various other laws, rules and regulations. And third and the most important, another one is a social security law. When we talk of incorporation law, you are all familiar. Either you are a society or you are a trust or you are a company. Sometimes you may not be even registered in any one of this. For example, there are church bodies who are there. I'm not now overstating from AD 52, AD 75, AD 100. Not 2000 or 1900, AD 100. So there are bodies like that in the church sector which are operating. Now, it's not my intention to go to every law because there is no time. The red box is the focus. Among the various laws applicable to non-profit societies, Catholic congregations and trusts, income tax law is applicable, goods and service tax is applicable today, and also public trust is applicable. Among all this, my focus is the FCRA, and of course, social security laws are also applicable, like the PF, gratuity, ESI, bonus, minimum wages, all this. But I am not going to focus on those things. The focus is today on the FCRA. So if you go to the FCRA, It is the amendment of 2020, which is the focus for the next 10 to 15 minutes.
Sir,
Uh,
people are requesting for the PPT. It is not visible.
is not visible?
Yes, sir.
Oh, shall I go and reshare again? Have I not shared? Excuse me.
Yeah, no sharing, not sharing. Yeah, you please share it, sir.
Oh, I'm sorry, Father. Now,
Yes, you are right. Correct.
Yes, Father. Yes, sir.
sharing?
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm very sorry. I'm very sorry. Okay. So the focus is on the FCRA, though maybe, I don't know, you may not have seen any of the slides, is it?
Yeah,
But
yes.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Legal, these are the focus area. I talked about canon law on the one side, but that's not the focus today. It is the civil law that is the focus today. And then we are affected. I said all the societies, whether social work or education, all are affected. And there are three types of laws: incorporation law, society trust section 8 company, and other laws such as income tax, FCRA, and goods and service tax. And there are laws like this, no, provident fund and gratuity and ESI and things like that. And incorporation law, society law, and then trust law, then the section 8. I don't think in the church sector there are many section 8, but church sector is mostly societies and some trust. And therefore that's not the focus. Our focus today is the red box. The red box is the amended FCRA. In the amended FCRA, my focus is still, it is the what has changed, not so much what has not changed. I don't want to waste your time with what has not changed. What has changed, what are the implications of these changes, these amendments, and how we can handle them in a way that we can ensure proper compliance. That's the focus. So if you see the objective, authentic information, there are so many people who talk about FCRA today, so many interpretations, so many different versions. So to hear an authentic version, this is the 30th or the 32nd session I am taking to the bishops and the provincials and the congregations and the auditors and the INGOs. For all of them I have been giving continuously, and this is must be the 30th one. Very brief and very simple, very authentic. Identification of issues that are going to cause problems for us, but not stopping there, exploring the ways forward for compliance. Look at this. Definition is remaining the same for FCRA. All the definition, foreign contribution, foreign source, everything, excepting one definition which is added: public servant. And prohibitions, many are prohibited, like judges and government servants and the politicians, etc. One more prohibition is the public servant. Those of you who are heavily involved in FCRA, you know why this definition has come up, why this addition has come up, because of certain cases that are going on. Transfer of FCRA funds to another person, this is the most affecting amendment for all the Catholic congregations. Why Catholic congregations? For the entire Catholic Church. Restriction on administrative expenditure. This is also a problematic amendment for us. And of course, registration prayer permission remains the same. There is no change. Suspension and cancellation. Suspension, they have extended the period from 182 days to 360 days. And renewal and registration, they have made one more amendment. Renewal time also, all the investigations will take place like the registration time, first registration time. And one more major amendment is designated bank account. I'm going to speak about that in a minute from now. Maintenance of books of accounts, audit of books of accounts, no change. Intimation about the change of key members, no change. Intimation about annual report like FC4, which is now December 31st is the last date, no change. Quarterly display of foreign contribution in the website, no change. Annual display of auditor statement, no change. All that is in white, no change. All that is in red, there is some change. So what is the first change? What is the first change that is most important? That is most important. That's most important for all, whether it is a society or a trust, or whether it is a education sector or a health sector or a social sector, whatever is the sector. The most important amendment is this amendment. And this is the one that you all should apply your mind and see how it is going to affect us and how we can address this amendment in a safe way for all of us. I know this is for the people of India, people of Africa. This may not be applicable. People of Asian countries like you are in Myanmar or Sri Lanka or Thailand or other such countries, it's not applicable. Bangladesh, it is applicable. There is already a law. If someone from Bangladesh in this gathering, definitely there is already a law. And I want to say something else. It's a matter of time. Most of the countries are going to have this kind of restrictions, which is very evident. It's a matter of time. So it's good for you all to be alert, good for you all to be cautious about this kind of prohibition, this kind of thing. Now, in the congregation, what will be the reality? If money comes to the province, from the province FCRA, we will be giving to various other community FCRAs. There is a social work, a group of sisters are doing a social work. There is a society in the congregation for social work, and there is FCRA. Now, if the money comes to the province, we used to give it to the social work societies, FCRA. Hereafter, we cannot give it. Same thing from the province. If you have another FCRA, may not be social work, but some other activity, you cannot give it. Then what has to happen? It has to come directly to that FCRA, social work FCRA. Then you can implement. Take another live example. There are dioceses who receive money like the Holy Childhood or some other donor money. And diocese in turn gives it to the congregation, the bishop's house, their FCRA, they give it to the congregation's FCRA, either province FCRA or a community FCRA. No more that is possible. That is also prohibited now. Of course, I'm not going to speak too much about dioceses because I have separate session for the bishops of India. I have separate session for the bishops of certain states in the country. So I'm not going to speak much about it. But the fact is that diocese also, when they receive in their FCRA, they cannot give it to any of their own FCRA or another FCRA of a congregation. That is the reality. So the way forward is to get it directly into the FCRA who is implementing the activity. That is still possible, but that's a challenge. That means every society having FCRA should shape up, should put their system in place, should go for proper bank, and should have their ability to communicate with the donor, etc. All that is another important aspect. Now going to the next one, threshold reduction in the administrative expenditure. What is this administrative expenditure? First of all, the government has given a definition in Rule 5 of the FCRA rules. In Rule 5 of the FCRA rules, the government says, the FCRA rule says, all salaries and of course costs relating to rent and administration and the accounts and the audit and all that will be administration and salaries. However, specific works like a school or a hospital where the staff are paid, the teachers are paid, the doctors are paid, or in the case of research, the whole research salary or the research expenditure, they may look like admin, but they won't be admin. In other words, it's a very unclear definition, not a clear definition. So many people, I also have that view that salaries of the program people should not be considered administration. Salaries of the program people, community organizer, program coordinator, program director, all these are program. So they must not be brought to the administration. Whereas accountant, audit or secretary, those kind of things, it is understandable, it goes to administration. But the point here is not even this kind of clarity. The main problem is some of the donors, they give only for administration because we are asking for administration. We are not able to get admin cost locally. From the government grant, they don't give administration. Even CSR money, corporate social responsibility people don't give money for administration. They give money more for program. So sometimes we are able to get some money from foreign sources for administration. Unfortunately, now administration alone cannot happen in the FCRA account. And administration cannot be more than 20%. It was 50% until the amendment of the September last week. From September last week, it is not possible to have administration than 20%. But my advice is don't even go to 20%. Don't even be 19%, because you never know. The FCRA can add one more item and say that this is more than 20%. Better you are there somewhere in 15% or 18% or something like that. You will be on the safer side. It means you will have to raise your local money for administration. You will have to spend less in the foreign money for administration. And when you go for fundraising, raise more local, explaining. Of course, it's not easy. Nobody will give just for administration. But explaining that as a combined project, our admin cost is very low. But in FC alone, our admin cost is higher. And that's why we would like to support with the local money for administration. Now, after the second most important amendment, the third most important amendment is the bank account. What is the current scenario for bank account? You are having designated bank account according to your wish and your decision. It may be a nationalized bank in your area. It may be a scheduled bank in your vicinity. No more that is possible. Now you have to have your designated bank account only in one branch. I'm sure all of you know by now, and that is the State Bank of India, Sunset Mark branch, otherwise called NDMB, New Delhi main branch, Sunset Mark State Bank of India. All accounts have to be opened only there. Fortunately, after opening the account there, you can transfer the money to a utilization account. For that purpose, you can use your current FCRA designated account as the utilization account. It is allowed. That's possible. Of course, if you are not able to manage with one utilization account, you want to have one more, two more, five more, that is possible. There is no problem. That is possible. Now, coming the timeline, while the administrative cost already it is effective from the 28th of September, this one stay the account opening they have given time up to 31st of March, which means up to 31st of March, you can use the the existing FCRA designated account. But after 31st of March, you cannot anymore use it. You have to use only the SBI account in the New Delhi main branch. Now, if you ask after hundreds of discussions with hundreds of bodies, if you ask me what will be your advice, I will say don't open now. Don't open now. Hmm? You don't have to be the John the Baptist for this purpose. You can be the John the Baptist for some other purpose. Open somewhere in December, maybe by 15th, 20th, 25th, just little after Christmas. And from January onwards, use the new account, that is the SBI account, New Delhi. Why? Because this quarter you can finish up with this bank account. You can inform the donors leisurely that from next quarter I'll be going into the new account allowed by the, insisted by the government. And this quarter you can reflect in your website also that all monies are received through the existing account. That way this quarter will be over and you will be using the new account in the last quarter of the financial year 2021. But don't go to the March, because you never know what problems we will face in opening an account. Opening bank account in the neighboring bank itself is sometimes is a big problem nowadays. So opening bank account in Delhi can be time consuming. Therefore, open it in December, somewhere 15th, 20th, 25th, and then from 1st onwards, you can receive money in the new account. That is only my advice. You don't have to follow this. If you have some other reason, for example, your donor is insisting, what is happening now, the donors are getting more awareness than some of us about the FCRA, Indian FCRA. Because I get, for example, evening I get questions from other countries, because for them it is morning, plus it is evening. We are yet to hear the news. Nowadays the are amending like that, morning one, afternoon one, evening one. So we need to be clear. If the donor is insisting that we should go for a new account sooner, then perhaps we may have to follow that instead of arguing with them. Now, another point is inquiry during renewal process. In the past, until this amendment, during registration of FCRA, there used to be inquiry. IB officer visiting, giving report, etc. And renewal time, there is not supposed to be inquiry. But the fact is, in the first renewal took place in 2016, was a lot of visit was there, lot of investigation also was taking place. Father, am I still audible, Father?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay,
perfectly all right, sir.
okay.
I think so. If there is anybody difficulty, they'll be sending by chat if there's any
Okay.
difficulty. So far,
Okay.
nothing.
Sure, Father.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
Father.
Thank
Thank you, Father. So, now you are all aware the renewal is coming up next year. As you know, the history of FCRA, 1967 was the FCRA bill. 1976 was the first FCRA law. 1985 was the major amendment requiring all of us to register or go for prayer permission. 2010, the 1976 law was repealed and 2010 new law was put in place. 2010 to 2020, FCRA was, talk of the country. Every time there used to be something or the other in the media, in the newspaper, we used to hear. Now, 2020, this major amendment. Now, the first set of renewals took place in 2016. Why? Because the law for amendment itself came only in 2010. So 5 years they gave for the existing registrations, and 2016 we went for the first renewal. At that time itself, 43 registrations were made, only 23 registrations. Now we are having only 23,000 registrations. I mean 23,000. Now, next renewal is coming next year. Most of us who are FCRA bodies from the pre 2010 will have to go for registration in 2021. So at that time, you can expect some kind of inspection, some kind of questions, etc. So it's better that we are very clear about the compliance for this year. And if anything pending in terms of intimating change of members, intimating anything else, it is high time that we do it during these days, coming weeks, if not go for months, because next year already it will be due for renewal. One more thing, author number has to be given. Foreigners are involved, passport has to be given. If overseas citizens of India is there, then their cards, OCI card, and PIO, person of Indian origin, if they are there, that card also has to be given. You may ask, first of all, two questions. Why all this? They want to know how many societies or trust one person is a member or a president or a chairperson. If you take a lay person, he can have one society, maybe he will have one more trust. If you take a Catholic congregation, the provincial will be the chairperson in 20 other societies. And if the generalate is also in India, she can be or he can be a member or a chairperson or a chief functionary in multiple societies. So if they put the author number, they immediately know how many societies she is involved. One question. And if you ask me now, what is the way forward? That is another important question. Each congregation has to think about it. What should be the proper way forward? And you may ask me, passport, foreigners are not allowed. Yes, that's true. Foreigners are not allowed nowadays. But if there are there because of exceptions, then the passport copy has to be given. That's about the FCRA. I know there are laws on income tax which is requiring you to register. For example, you will have to go for the registration, fresh registration in the month of April. In the month of April, you all have to go for registration. So, I don't have the time, but if you have questions, you can always ask. But I want to end with the last part, that is compliance of the post-COVID. Post-COVID will be virtual. I spoke of virtual audit and I spoke of virtual filing. I also spoke of virtual scrutiny and the assessment. That is going to be the order of the day. So virtual compliance process means there are three things. If there are 3 floors, I am talking of 3 floors. Look here. First floor is in our control. First floor or ground floor. You have the books of accounts, you have the vouchers, you have the documents with you, you do the audit with the help of your auditor, and digital financial statements, audited digital financial statements are with you. But second floor is not in your control. Look here. Second floor is already in the government control. We have to file everything in the portal. CRA portal, GST portal, IT portal, society portal, public sector, public trust portal. So we are already not in control. Government is in control. Third level, second floor, ground floor, first floor, second floor. We are absolutely not in control. Everything will be virtual. Assessment unit, verification unit, technical unit, everything will be virtual. This picture we should have in mind, and then ask one last question. Are we digitally prepared? Are we digitally prepared? Father Nitya, I am very proud to say that you are not only promoting important values and concepts, you are also promoting digital competency through these seminars, through these webinars. Digital
Thank you.
today, if somebody says corona is, no, oxygen is not necessary for corona, nobody will accept. Similarly, in these days, if digital competency is not there, then lot of things are in trouble. For example, today, the spirituality is digital. Social life is digital. You know, weddings are digital, shopping is digital, isn't it? So, economy is digital, finance is digital. Therefore, digital competency, there is a course going on which I give called Financial Management and Digital Competency, or Digital Competency for Financial Management. It is not merely doing email, going to website. It is a capacity to do economic matters, financial matters, and legal compliance matters digitally. And virtual audit, for example, virtual audit in a secured manner, not with the danger of losing the data, or not with the danger of someone stealing the data, in a secured manner. And how do you communicate? Through Skype, through Microsoft Teams, through Zoom that we are using now. Many methods are there. So digital competency, the most important for the financial management and the accountability. And finally, all this will be possible through a process that I have accompanied in about almost about 30 countries, in about 10 to 15 countries in Asia and about 15 countries in Africa. Financial management capacity building process. This has happened in Papua New Guinea. You can see me with my local, I always do this with a local specialist. This is in Papua New Guinea, the social work director. She is the entire multiple islands are managed by her for social work in that country. And the church body is the more than the government there. It is more than the government there in the social ministry. This is in the Philippines. This is a children's program, and this is also a social, most touching program. The commercial sex workers are the professors of the street programs. In the street, they teach and they give degrees and diplomas. Wonderful people. And similarly, if you go to Ghana, for example, or if you go to, for example, Kenya, for example, more than 6 countries are gathered here. Neighboring countries are gathered here in Nairobi, in Kenya. All that is happening in these places is a capacity building. Capacity building is right now. What you are doing, what Father Nitya is doing, is a capacity building. Capacity building in multiple aspects. I would like to humbly insist, with my 40 years of involvement, 40 years of learning from you all, financial management capacity building. And I want to tell you, people who were zero in financial management today are hero and heroines. And I'm very proud to say those who were learning petty cash in 1978, 1985, 1988, today they are provincials and generals in the congregations with a beautiful clarity on the financial management, legal compliance. I feel so proud of them. And I'm sure each of you can become very competent and fully empowered so that you can empower your community and your collaborators and ultimately, most importantly, your target population. Father Nitya, thank you so much for giving me this opportunity. I cannot but say I have only touched upon here and there, Father.
Yes, sir.
Because it is such a topic and it has got such a lot what has to be learned or what has to be understood in a semester. I tried in an hour and a half. I hope you will humbly excuse me for being very brief, but this is what is possible. I am now available for any question or query, and also your own comments, because I opened up the topic saying that it is a joint reflection. Therefore, you are all great people in your own right, with your own leadership responsibilities, with your own track record. So feel free to make your own comments on these thoughts that I have shared with you. Thank you so much, Father. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Dr. Kandasamy. Thank you very much for this very enlightening, erudite, and insightful session, because there are so many issues are there. We are actually, most of us are social activists in the grass field, but very often there's a tendency to forget the obligations, the financial obligations, accounting obligations. But I think these things are very important. Some of the fundamental points you have stressed, I think this is a very good for us also to be alert. There's other aspect of social activities, accountability and transparency. Thank you so much, sir. This is a very good thing. We will get back to you if there's a need to have future need basing on their response. Tomorrow they'll be giving us their feedback.
Yeah.
Basing on that, if there's anything, we'll come back to you for a little more clarity.
Sure,
maybe
Pastor.
some 2 or 3 more sessions to have clarity about the FCRA, how to go ahead with this. I think these are things we would like to say. Thank you very much. A very big thank you.
Sure,
Yes.
Father. Sure, Father. Thank you, Father.
And dear friends, so some of you might be knowing what is this Kandasamy, what is this? He's a very practicing Catholic, and generally the name is not Catholic, may not be very familiar, but he is involved with all the Catholic inspection institutions, and therefore he knows the problems and difficulties, and he has settled things. So he has prophetically settled the issues and guided things. Therefore, it's very healthy. And may I ask Mr. Jesu Kumar to lead us into this clarifications, sir?
Father.
Mr. Jesu?
Yes, Father.
Yes. You can ask, you can present the questions.
Yes. The first question is,
Little louder.
how authentic is the PayPal? Can you please explain?
Okay. PayPal is one of the instruments for money changing. You have so many other instruments, as you are aware, as I was myself showing you when I said to go digital. But for certain transactions, like for example, FCRA transactions that I spoke about, PayPal is not allowed, because as you just now heard from me, the FCRA has to come only through our designated bank account, and from 1st April onwards, the designated bank account also has to be only the State Bank of India, New Delhi main branch, no other branch, no other bank. Therefore, PayPal will not be allowed there. And for other transactions like collection of fees or, this is okay, but it is not the only medium. There are so many other mediums, and I would always, I have been advising, study the various options available for your need. For example, if you are only a social work organization and you want to have collections both local and foreign is clear through only that branch, SBI New Delhi main branch. Local, you can go for various options, and PayPal is not the only option. I would not recommend that as the first option at all.
Thank you, sir. The next question, sir.
Yes, please. Please go ahead.
Yes.
Little louder, sir.
Yeah. Can public servant remain as members of the governing body of the trust having FCRA?
Okay. This is the latest issue that has come up. Let me take 30 seconds to make a difference between a government servant and a public servant. Government servant is different. I'm sure you are all aware. Public servant is not a government servant. To take an example, for example, the Solicitor General of a court is a public servant, but not a government servant. The definition of public servant is there in the Indian Penal Code. So this is one part. First, because many people are asking this question, thinking the government servants are public servants. Public servants are different, government servants are different. Now, coming to the fact that the public servant, whether such a person can be in the board, see, if you take the law, it says, even the amended law, that public servant should not be receiving funds. It does not completely rule out public servant being in the board. But if you ask me, is it advisable? I may not have a positive answer. Even for that person. Even for that person. And also for us, because you know the climate in the country, you know the reality of FCRA and its implementation today. That will be my thought over that.
Thank you, sir.
Welcome.
The next question, if we pay and receive payments via digital platform, how to get the bills or how to include them in accounting?
Yeah, this is a very practical. I am so happy that this question has come up. Moment we talk of virtual accounting, virtual financial management, virtual collection becomes necessary. And virtual payment becomes necessary. Without virtual collection and the virtual payment, there is no financial management. So, virtual collection, there is a simple possibility, depends upon which ministry. If you are in a social ministry, you have FCRA account and the local account. FCRA account, it comes only in that account. It cannot come into the local account. And local, we can give more than one bank. And we can put the local bank account even in the website, no risk. Ensuring in the FC account, nobody puts local money. For example, in the FC account, when they go, it will say, it will ask for the for Indian citizen or foreign citizen. If it is Indian citizen, it will not take it because it is local money. Only then it will ask for PAN, etc. So we have designed it in such a way. This is about social. But when you go to another ministry like health, it is a hospital scenario. People can pay through various options instead of coming and giving currency. And if you go to education ministry, parents can pay from wherever they are. They don't have to come to school. But only thing, we should not limit them to one option or the two options like the net banking or the credit card, because all parents won't have it. You have to use multiple options for them. Now, coming to payment, nowadays, computer invoices are acceptable. I'm sending computer invoice. I'm also getting computer invoice for my vendor payments, and we can save them as the vouchers. And similarly, online payments through the whatever method, either net banking or in credit card, and banks have special schemes for online payment. If you give them one bulk, for example, 10 payments together, they will make efficiently 10 payments in one transaction from you. So there are methods available in the bank also. I am using it, I am promoting it to other institutions so that they can reduce their work. And those invoices also will be acceptable for the future because of the reality. There is no problem.
Thank you, sir.
Welcome.
I'll just combine two questions, sir.
Sure.
So, can we continue to use the money of the existing FCRA account? Number two,
Okay.
Can we receive foreign funds in our existing FCRA account till March 2021?
Both are very practical questions. Thank you so much. On the first one, yes, you can use your existing FCRA designated bank account up to 31st March. But as I already mentioned to you, I do not recommend going to the last minute, last day, last week. Somewhere in December, you change so that next quarter onwards, you are in the new account. And on the specific point, the money available in the designated account, what you should do, whether you should take it to the new account that you are opening in Delhi. No, there is no such necessity. Government has not insisted on that so far. However, nowadays I always say it is at 7:45 India time. The law that I am sharing with you is 7:45 India time. 8 o'clock India time, something can change. That is the reality today. No? So nowadays, fortunately, you have social media, you have also some means of communication which shows as of now, existing money need not be sent to the new account that we will open in Delhi. It can be spent from here itself, from the current account itself, which is a utilization account.
The second part of the question.
Yes, Father.
That is there. One question was to receive till 31st of March. Is it allowed? They are asking.
Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. It is allowed, but if we open the new account, for example, in December end and we start operating the new account in January, then we should not use anymore the old account. We should then
Okay,
use
okay.
only the new account. I
Okay,
hope this
okay.
is clear.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I didn't make that clear. I hope this is clear now.
Okay,
Yes.
okay, sir.
Right.
So the next question,
Yeah.
how safe is online banking with all the hacking taking place?
How safe is this world now? Huh? How safe is this world now? As safe is online banking. You know, all that happens, all that happens in the world is also happening online. That is the fact. That is the fact. So, as you know, we will not be the first one to go for online banking. Hundreds and thousands have already gone for online banking. We need to enlighten ourselves what are the vulnerabilities in the online banking. For example, password. For example, double password or single password. For example, not to use simple passwords. For example, change the passwords periodically, not to keep the same, and not to leave the password on the table thinking that it is very safe, nobody sees it, everybody will see it. They know how to see it. So precautions have to be taken. Otherwise, there is no problem. I myself, for my firm and for myself, we operate quite a few online banking, net banking, and many of the institutions, Catholic institutions, they are today on banking, net banking. For your information, all the government payments have to be on net banking. For example, Provident Fund has to be paid net banking, GST has to be paid net banking. Therefore, online banking is quite a reality. And initial fear, initial apprehension is quite understandable. We need to come out of it. Anything new is also there is a fear of the new, but we have to come out of it. That is my advice.
Thank you, sir.
Welcome.
So there's another question.
Yes, please.
I heard we can't have net banking for NGO. I mean society. Please clarify, sir.
Nothing like that. Nothing like that. Hundreds and thousands of societies and trusts are already having net banking. There is no such prohibition at all. There is no such prohibition at all. Of course, FCRA is unclear. FCRA doesn't say that you should not have net banking. It says 2000 should not be more than cash. Cash transaction should be below 2000. Otherwise, there is no such prohibition at all for a NGO particularly, because thousands of organizations, our own Catholic institutions are having absolutely no problem.
Thank you, sir.
Welcome.
So another question. In virtual GB or a general body meeting,
Yeah.
how do the members sign the resolution?
That's a good question. First of all, we need to be clear whether the virtual is allowed for us or not allowed. The reason is, I just take the state of Tamil Nadu where I am in Chennai, city of Chennai. Until 2 months ago, the Tamil Nadu Societies Act, they never allowed virtual meeting. But many represented, now they are allowing by going for permission. This is one part. But if you take the Companies Act, right from the pandemic started, outbreak of COVID, they are allowing virtual meeting. For your information, Ambani conducted the 43rd annual general body meeting virtually. Thousands participated. So then they have to also sign virtually. They have to sign and send it. I attended meeting, and the resolution will be passed according to the attendance, according to the quorum present, etc. There is no question, no problems.
Thank you, sir.
Welcome.
Is there virtual credit or debit card without having a personal bank account? Because most of the congregation doesn't allow us to have a personal banking option.
Yeah. Good question. Maybe I'll ask the question in another way. Without a religious by virtue of your constitution, our poverty, etc., you are not allowed to have a personal bank account. But there is another part. The government salaries today are given only to a personal bank account. Those sisters and fathers or brothers who are the government staff in these institutions, no, you are now asked to have your own personal bank account to create your salary, that you are doing it with the permission of your authorities, provincial or general, as the case may be. However, if you ask about card for a community, there are many options are available. There are wallets available. There are some debit cards available. You don't need a personal account for the religious, for the treasurer, or for the superior or the community leader to have a card for the community. Today, I know it is real. It is necessity for certain communities. Sudden, for example, midnight they have to pay 50,000 to the hospital. 1 lakh heart attack. We cannot wait for tomorrow to go and wait, and unless you pay in the hospital, they are not admitting live cases. And also sometimes buying tickets, whatever tickets, especially in an emergency manner. So you need this kind of instruments today. There are multiple instruments available. You don't have to have a personal bank account for a religious. Absolutely no question. I know without going to names of congregations, quite a few congregations are having cards already for the community.
Thank you, sir.
Okay,
Welcome.
sir. I think as maybe we can have all the questions together. We can wind up because already we have passed the time. Mr. Jesu, can you read all the questions? Then you can cluster of questions. Yeah.
Yes, I'm just comparing two questions.
Okay.
If a superior general is the president or chairperson
Okay.
of many trusts or society,
Okay.
is it feasible? What is advisable in the present context? Number one.
Yeah.
The another question is, in your understanding, what is a person in FCRA?
Okay,
Definition.
wonderful. I'll take the second one first. And the person definition, like in the old law, 1976 law, 2010 law, and now 2020 amendment, has a wide variety of people. First of all, person includes individual. Whether he is a bishop or a provincial or a general or a community leader, the individual is also within the definition of person. And after that, it includes societies, trust, companies, or any unincorporated bodies, associations, etc. So there is a clear definition of person in the FCRA. This is number one. The first one is a very interesting question. I think when I said joint reflection, this question typically represents joint reflection. Whoever has asked this question, I would like to say, first, keep the religious authority intact. The universal law is the canon law. I do interact with canon lawyers at a time with 100 of them. So I know that you have to very, very carefully preserve the canon law. Keeping that in order, you see under the civil law whether you can delegate certain responsibilities. For example, as a president of the society in the congregation, to your local society, can you make a vice president? Already some societies have. For example, the rector is the vice president, the provincial is the president. And in certain other cases, the superior is the secretary and the provincial is the president. Now, to the FCRA, you can always pass a resolution and say secretary of that society shall be the chief functionary for the FCRA. And similarly, for the income tax, it is called principal contact. Same person, but different definition. You can make a resolution that she will be the principal contact for the income tax. But these should not be conflicting with the provisions of the bylaw. Because in the bylaw, we have provided certain things. This much I can say at this time. But this is a topic that needs more reflection. I will only say in general, preserve the canonical authorities which you can't afford to dilute, and delegate legal responsibilities to the extent required. I would like to be very simple and clear. You cannot delegate certain responsibilities to the extent there is abrogation of responsibility. And then locally there are problems if they exceed, and then there can be other conflicts. So, but this is very simple. to the government authorities, whom do you want to show as the chief functionary in different societies? It could be the rector there, it could be the superior there, it could be the secretary there, not in the canonical definition, canonical title, it is in the civil title. They can be made the chief functionaries. There is no problem. Instead of same person appearing in 20 societies or 30 societies, this is a possibility. But make no mistakes while I say this, that your responsibility, both ultimate legal responsibility as the president and ultimate legal responsibility as the canonical responsibility as the provincial, cannot be delegated or diluted. I hope some clarity and less confusion.
Yes. Last two questions I will combine, sir.
Okay, please.
Okay. Can you please explain what are the category programs under administrative cost? Number one,
Okay.
what is the upper limit of cash withdrawal from FCRA account?
Okay. Second one first, as always. You are making some questions, double questions in such a way. Second one is very focused, very simple.
Okay.
Second one, expenditure, cash expenditure should not be more than 2000. They are not talking about cash withdrawal. Okay. But remember, we are attaching the bank statement along with the FC4 annual return. And that is visible. If there are lump sum withdrawals, 1 lakh, 2 lakh, 5 lakh, that can be questionable. Therefore, withdrawal also, I as a practitioner, a person who is in practice and observing hundreds of FCRA bodies, I would not recommend unnecessary cash withdrawal. In any case, cash expenditure at a time cannot be more than 2000. This is the second one. Sorry, first one, what did you say, please? Kindly help me again. The first one.
What are the category programs and the administrative cost?
Right. Yeah, that needs more than 5 minutes. I hope we'll have another chance. So I was trying to mention, number one, the pure admin, like for example, accountant, secretary, office administrator, those salaries and the cost, rent and the stationery, auditing, etc. will go to admin, no question. But salaries also will go to admin, all salaries. That is one interpretation. That's not the final interpretation. That is one interpretation. Whereas another interpretation is salaries of program people, like I mentioned, the community organizer or program coordinator, etc., should not go to administration. They should go to program. That is another interpretation. Now, left to us, we will definitely take the second one because that's the fact. You cannot say all those touching the lives of the poor people through the program, community organizers and program coordinators are admin people. They have nothing to do with any administration. But if you see the government interpretation in certain cases where they have cancelled the FCRA numbers without going to their names, they have taken salary also there and shown high percentage of administration. They have shown. However, research expenditure and also expenditure like teachers in a school or doctors in a hospital, they will not be classified as admin. That is clarified in the Rule 5 itself. Having said all this, there is an expectation, a new definition of administration expenditure is likely to come from the government. There is a kind of a expectation going on. Hope sometime soon we will get another definition of administration, and then we have to see what is in it.